Kirby Smart and the Dogs are sitting at 21 commitments right now in the 2025 class, and I think that they could get several more over the next couple of weeks. That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Who's left on board? Which guys are coming up with their commitments over the next couple of weeks? There are several guys. And who else could Georgia add to this 25 class? Of course, they lost a commitment from Jaden Perlotti, who flipped not to Tennessee, but to Southern Cal after a weekend visit in Los Angeles. Georgia's going to find a way to get another middle linebacker in this class. They've got Zayden Walker. There's room for another middle linebacker, but several other key guys coming off the board soon. That's what I want to talk about specifically to open up this video. Now, the first guy is Juan Gaston Jr. He will be making his commitment on Friday. Massive young man. He's a multi-year starter. Started as a freshman for Westlake all throughout his high school career. 6'7", 360. This is a big kid who can really move, plays basketball. His dad played basketball at Georgia Tech. Just a phenomenal athlete for his size. Ranked as the number 14 interior offensive lineman, the number 187 overall prospect in the country. Like I've said, this is going to come down to Georgia and Tennessee, but I'm not ruling Oregon out right now. I'm not ruling South Carolina out either just yet. He has gone silent. He's not talking to anyone. Tough to get in touch with anyone in his camp right now. So I still think Georgia's in a good spot, as I've reported throughout his recruitment. He has not come out and said it, but I feel like he's a guy who didn't understand why people were just penciling him into Georgia's class, like a lot of people have. I've just always liked where Georgia sat with him. They like him a lot as a player. He's been to Athens several times over the last few years. But he likes Oregon, and he knows he can play early at South Carolina. And Tennessee's doing a great job on the trail right now. Him committing to Tennessee would not surprise me. Again, I don't know 100% where he's going. Sometimes I do know. I don't know with Juan Gaston Jr., but I think he could absolutely commit to Georgia on Friday. Right now, I don't know one way or another where he's going. That's just the honest truth. And a lot of other people don't know. I think there are some staffs out there who aren't going to know what he decides until he says it and makes that announcement. So a lot of people, I think, are up in the air right now. So we'll have to see where it goes. I'll continue to monitor the situation until Friday, but I can see Georgia, but I can definitely see Tennessee, and a shock would not shock me either. So I'm not exactly sure what is going to happen. They have 3 commitments right now on the interior. Cortez Smith, Mason Short, Dontrell Glover, all interior guys. But a tackle to know is Demola Ajudon. He tweeted the hourglass on social media. That means something's coming, something's around the corner, right? That's what the kids post when something's coming soon. The thing that's got you, what, a minute, 30 seconds? I just said it 10 seconds ago. Now I'm forgetting what the thing is called. But I think a commitment could be coming soon. He's not a guy who said to me specifically, I'm committing on this day. But he is a promising tackle out of Duluth, 6'6", long wingspan, about 285. He's a guy who is leaner than the others they have on the commit list. So I do think he's a true tackle at the next level. I like Georgia's chances over Ole Miss and have felt that way for a while. And I can see him committing in the next couple weeks before his senior season starts. A lot of guys want to be committed going into their senior season. And if they're not, then they'll wait till after the season around signing day to make that announcement. But I think he's a guy who might jump on board sooner than later and maybe just commit randomly one day. He still doesn't have a decision set on a commitment, but that could be any day now. And I like where Georgia sits. Nick Brooks is another guy. Massive kid. I think he's at Grayson now, but he was from Iowa, played at Georgia St. Francis. I think was going to go to Buford with that crew last year, played in Iowa. Now he's back down to Georgia. But that's another massive kid, 6'7", 360, one of the biggest 15-year-olds I've ever seen in my life. If they land Juan Gaston Jr., does that push Nick Brooks out of this class? Do you really want to take 5 guards and with a center and Cortez Smith and no tackles? I think they would like to take the Demola Ajudon, the kid out of Duluth that I just talked about. But Nick Brooks is still a guy to know. Another guy coming off the board specifically on a specific date, right? Jontae Gilbert, 4-star cornerback from Douglas that I saw play with Dean in the heat, man, in the heat to open up last season. I'm going to talk about him in just a second. But quickly, collegeruns.com. That's where you can get the #1 Georgia Bulldog statue on the market. Get it today with a discount. Promo code DAWGPOST, DAWGPOST. The link is going to be in the description below below this video. I've got to remember to put it there. I'm going to do it, okay? So in the description is where you can order this bad boy and get the discount. Promo code DAWGPOST, DAWGPOST. Get it now so you get it before the season. Jontae Gilbert, 6'1", 180, versatile guy. He played offense and defense in the Heat against Mace to open up last year, and made some plays. It's hard to light up the stat sheet at cornerback, especially when you're excellent in coverage, because no one has, you're not giving up a lot of catches, right? And if you're a D1 kid like him, again, he can play that lockdown cornerback spot where he is right now. We'll see if he ends up at safety, star, or stays at cornerback at the next level. But he's got some length, 6'1", 180, good hands. Respectable 4-star, number 16 cornerback prospect in the country, number 135 overall. So he's a top 150 kid across the country. Georgia was in on him early. I thought he was one of their top targets early in the process, this time kind of last year, probably a year and a half ago. Then things kind of sizzled. It didn't feel like Georgia was recruiting him as hard as others. And I think NC State has made him a top priority. Clemson's in the mix. I think South Carolina was in the mix, or leading at one point. I think Auburn was in the mix. But it looks like Georgia is pushing harder now. So that if they want to add a fifth defensive back, I'm going to talk about the 4 commitments they have in just a second. But if they want to add another guy, Jontae Gilbert could be that last final defensive back they take, giving them 5 in this class. But he's a promising defensive back that it looks like now they are pushing harder for than they were at one point. Now, a new defensive line, he's more of an edge guy to keep an eye on. They've got 2 edge commitments already, but Chase Linton is a 6'4", 215-pound edge defender who's committed to Rutgers that earned a Georgia offer just a few days ago. He's a solid 4-star, right? You may not have heard about him because he's committed to Rutgers and was never offered by Georgia. So this is the first time I'm mentioning him because I thought that offer was interesting. But he's the number 6 edge defender. That's either 16 or 6. I may have written that wrong. Number 256 overall in the country. So this is a top, right outside of the top 250 nationally. That's a really good player. He's explosive. I tried to look up his numbers and they weren't great. And then I watched his film and I said, yeah, there's definitely more than 2 sacks that's listed in his statistics because the first 3 plays on his film are, sacks or something close to it. But he made play after play in the backfield. Lean, athletic kid who is just seeing his recruitment continue to soar right now. Even as a 25 guy, you don't see those offers coming now, right? Georgia, again, has 21 commitments, several other targets that they offered a long time ago. So every once in a while, you'll see them like a kid late in the process offer and give the green light to commit to. Maybe Chase Linton is that guy. But before people ask, this does not affect defensive tackles, Justice Terry and Elijah Griffin. Those guys have a spot in this class. They're being pushed for heavily in different positions, right? This kid, again, 6'4", 215. So what he's doing is completely different than what they're going to ask Justice Terry and Elijah Griffin to do. So he might be playing with his hand on the ground, but he's not taking time or a spot away from those two who I still think are leaning Georgia's way right now. So Chase Linton is a new defensive end, outside linebacker, edge guy, playing that 7 technique, if you want, to know about, as I try to get the words out. He's committed to Rutgers, so if he has the green light to jump on board, this kid plays at North Atlanta, so he's an in-state kid. It's a no-brainer, right? If you can go to Georgia, 45 minutes away, what's Atlanta to Athens? What, an hour? Hour 15, maybe an hour and a half with a little traffic? You let me know. I don't make that drive too often. But yeah, if this kid has the opportunity to play for Georgia, I can see him jumping on board, giving them their 3rd edge defender in this class. 5-star Isaiah Gibson is an edge defender ranked number 1 at his position across the country. He's from Warner Robins. And then Darren Ikenogban, I think he's a top 10 edge defender in the country. He's from New Jersey. They add a kid like Chase Linton, who is showing a lot of promise, right? He's got a high ceiling. If he continues to add more weight, add more muscle to that long, lean, athletic frame that he has, his best football is still years ahead of him. So this is a sneaky type of, he's a 4-star. So it's not like this kid is some scrub that is going to be towards the bottom of their class as far as his ranking goes. So he's a 4-star kid. So this would be a nice addition, especially if everyone on the defensive staff gives the okay and they're fine with him. They think they could turn him into a really good player because he flashes for sure. I mean, he'll make an occasional eye-opening, drive-killing type of play in the backfield where you're like, okay, this kid can play. He made that look easy. So Just another guy to know, but Jontae Gilbert is coming off the board again August 10th. That's a guy Georgia fans need to keep an eye on. Juan Gaston Jr. coming off the board Friday. And then Demola Ajudon is a promising tackle who could come off the board at any point. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll see you on the next video.